All right, welcome back. We are trying to put some paint on this here transom bracket today. Yeah, I cheated. I put some epoxy filler on these welds. These welds. Dude custom made it for me. Local guy, so it's locally sourced. Supported a small business, and he gave me a heck of a deal on it, and it's built like a freaking tank. So I'm gonna paint it with primer first, using the Alexseal primer that I used on the boat. So we're gonna see how it holds up with 120 grit, scuff marks on it, and 2, how Alexseal works on stainless steel. Non-OSHA approved rig here. I don't know how this is even working. Psychology, I guess. Like, this is just these old toe straps. I'm just waiting for them to snap at any moment now, so if this video never makes it because I got crushed underneath this bracket, then hey, it was all in good fun, right? All right, she's all cleaned up. Wiped it down with this whole Finish One products. What's up, dog? You gonna watch me paint? You gonna watch me paint, dog? You gonna watch me screw this up? You gonna watch me screw up this paint job? Yeah? Gonna try and put some primer on it, and hopefully don't mess this up. Also, I haven't drank this in like probably close to a decade. Going to Jamaica on a honeymoon here in a couple months. And apparently it's all they have, so why not start preparing a couple months early? Hooray, beer. Still a little bit warm. Got it in the cooler, and yeah, it's a little skunky. All right, on to paint. We got the paint on the bracket, Alexseal here. This is 3 coats, the Matterhorn white on it. There is some orange peel on it. I guess that's just my own shortcoming when it came to prepping. I don't know. It turned out really well. I used some of the roll additive to it. This side I hit with a 1500 grit and then polished it with a wool pad just to see how it would come out. And it looks a lot better. It's not perfectly flat, but from a distance it sort of looks a lot better than the other side. Got a bracket installed on the back here. It's a bit of a fiasco. I didn't record it because, well, I didn't want to embarrass myself in case it didn't work, but it worked. Looks nice. Went and put this big old sheet or plate. It's a 1/4 inch thick plate of stainless. Put 2 bolts in the top, 2 in the bottom. I figured with the weight of the motor pulling on this thing, it'd be pulling more from the top, so that's why I put the plate on the top, and I just put washers on the bottom. They're just kind of there to keep it steady. I mean, there's 6 bolts in it. I sat on it, jumped around on it. It's not going anywhere. And then we put some 5200 on the edge of it, and I'm not really good at doing caulk, so don't judge that too bad. Then I just got to figure out how to get this cover to stick on there. I think I'm just going to get some small stainless bolts, sink them in there because it's steel and I don't feel like threading it for a nut or a screw to fit in there. We're going to go ahead and jump to the garage real quick. Got this beauty put all back together. I think everything's the way it's supposed to be. Surely looks a hell of a lot better than it did. Power head's mounted. I had to mess around with this shift shaft. The one that I had, I guess I used the one from the Evinrude lower unit on here. Didn't quite line up, so I couldn't get it to shift in and out of forward, neutral, and reverse. But she's Don't embarrass me now. Good to go now. There's no fluid in the lower unit, so I gotta fix that. But she's shifting the way she should. Everything's turning when I turn it, so I've turned the prop down there, well, the non-existent prop, the prop shaft. It's spun here, so I know the teeth are lined up. I don't even know if that's a thing or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to put this on the back of that bracket by myself. I'm gonna pull the cherry picker out, put that on the trailer. I'm gonna wheel this over here with this little wheel dolly thing, and you know, hopefully I can get this all done and with minimal injuries. Gonna be lots of OSHA violations, but yeah, we're just gonna figure it out. Now this is where the sketchy part begins. Gotta trim it up a bit. That way it'll match the angle. This is right first try. Yep, there we go. Looks about good. Alright, and now we hope and we pray that this works. I don't know if it is. I don't know if I got enough clearance. I don't think this is going to work. Alright, well, that's one bolt hole through. If you were questioning your ability to put on an outboard by yourself using minimal tools, doing it the wrong way, but still getting the job done, there is your proof. She's mounted. I'm gonna go ahead and torque these up. Bracket ain't going nowhere. No stress cracks in the transom yet. We'll see how she holds up overnight. See if she wants to rip off or not. I don't think she's going anywhere because you have to pull that whole plate all the way through this finely manufactured transom that I did myself. I don't know if this is going to be the right adjustment or not. I got to put it in the water. I did the whole, you know, an inch every foot back, you raise it an inch, so that anti-cavitation plate should be 2 inches above the water line. Really only one way to find out, and that's put it in the water and let it run wide open and see if it cavitates. What I got here, I got this from a local yacht place. It's, I believe, 2 1/4 inch internal diameter. It's like a, honestly looks like shop vac hose. I'm gonna figure out where the controls come up through the floor. So I'm thinking about honestly just measuring from the corner of the bracket, or that top bolt here, whether you can see or not. I'm just gonna measure over, see how much distance it is to that center, and then put the hole somewhere up over here. I want to make sure there's enough room for this steering cable because it is not very malleable, but looks like she'll be able to come straight up out of there and then make another 90 or 90-ish degree turn based off of what I'm seeing right here. I guess right in there. Just this nut, this thing, you know, I can't Got to make sure the hole is placed in an area where I can get this thing through there, because it's not going to go through that wall. But it's also going to be a 2.5 inch hole. So pretty nerve-wracking if you ask me, because I'm drilling more holes in my boat, and I got to be certain that the holes that I am putting in here are going to be in the right place. So when I did my measurements, we're coming out to about right here for the steering cable, and I think that'll be decent. I think that'll be enough curve to get me into where I need to be. The steering and everything to come out like right here. All right, we had the first hole drilled. I was only off by that much on my measurements, so yeah, it's not perfect. It's close enough. I drilled that small hole as a pilot hole, and to just make sure I was confident before I put this big old 2.25 inch hole in it, and I think we're good. I sure hope we're good. I mean, that's a good amount of travel for this to come out and around. I'm gonna go ahead and send it from here. Why not? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I put a hole in the back of the boat that's not meant to be there, and then I gotta patch it up. Well, I've patched plenty of holes in this thing, so I think I'm gonna trust my gut instinct. Sorry for all that. I think I'm gonna trust my gut instinct on this. We're just gonna go ahead and put a hole in it. Been super behind on these videos. Anyways, I don't know, there's a lot that's happened. We put it in the water the other day, got the water line. This is basically the water line here, actually, now I'm looking at it, that chalk line. Set really high in the water. I'll post a photo here. Got the motor hooked up, steering, shift cables. So I wanted to get in the water so I could figure out how far down the water line was, so that way I know like how far to put this Alexseal paint down. And it turns out like the water line is like right here on this corner. It's sitting super high. That was with like 420 pounds inside the boat, and it was still sitting that high. It sits very level too, which I'm very excited about. It's not like super like bow high or anything, and she sits pretty well level in the water. So I'm putting the tank up in the front, you know, and that was with, you know, 420 pounds, I think is about 80 gallons of gas, give or take a few pounds. Probably not going to keep 80 gallons of gas in here at all the time just because it's so dang expensive, but just want to get a reference on where the water line is. But I've been taking off these decals here on the side. It's been an absolute pain. These things have been on there probably since 79, or I have no idea, but I got this little whizzy wheel here. It's called a whizzy wheel, I think. It's like an eraser on a drill, and you just spin it and it hits the decals, and it pulls them off. I don't want to say pretty easy, but a lot easier than if you were to like scrape them off by hand. So got that sucker on Amazon. Super great. I've used it on multiple things, like pulling adhesive off of the rain gutters on like a vehicle. They really just any adhesive that's stuck on there. So yeah, I'm just gonna quit talking, and we're gonna get to finishing sanding. I experimented with a couple different grits. Started with 400, hit it on the side. Down here it was just not taking this adhesive, like backing off of it. So I don't know what I'm gonna have to do about that, if it's gonna print through the paint. I mean, it feels flush. There's just a very, very, very small amount, like you can feel the ridge just barely. So I don't know if it's gonna print. We'll see. I'm gonna sand it, finish sanding it with this 80 grit. It's not really some like new 3M. I burnt a hole through that middle there, but it's a 3M. I don't know, it's kind of like you can see through it. It's supposed to get sharper the more you use it. I don't know, some auto body shit my buddy gave me, but it's been working well. I'm trying to keep everything nice and fair and flat and not dig in too deep. I'm gonna come back with some fairing and fill in these little gouges and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna skip to the fun part and get to sanding.